Angelica reporting from IRC News, and tonight we bring you a special report on adolescent sexual and reproductive health and how different approaches to sex education can shape outcomes. But first, take a look at a U.S. study from 2008, then explore new data from Zambia, and finally bring you voices from our community discussing on what these findings mean locally. Study by Kohler, Manhart, and Lafferty explored how abstinent-only and comprehensive sex education influenced teen sexual behavior, pregnancy, and STD risk in the United States. Drawing from the 2002 National Survey of Family Growth, the researchers reviewed information from 1,719 unmarried adolescents between 15 and 19 years old who had received different types of sex education. Some had no instruction, some were only taught by abstinence, and others were given both abstinence and birth control lessons. The researchers found that teens who were only taught to avoid sex didn't wait much longer to become sexually active, and that their rates of pregnancies and STDs stayed about the same. In comparison, those who learned through comprehensive programs were less likely to get pregnant and tended to postpone sexual activity. It also found that learning about contraception didn't lead to more sexual behavior, and that teens not living with both of their parents were more likely to report an STD. Overall, the authors concluded that comprehensive sex education provides more protection in the abstinence-only programs and does not raise sexual risk. They recommended that future research include more detailed program information and biological data for better evaluation.
Okay. Do you believe in sex ed being taught in schools? And if so, why or why not?
I do believe it should be taught in schools, and I believe that it should be taught in schools because I think that that's a big decision you make in life, and no matter what age or time of your life you make it, you should be informed on all of the things that come with that big responsibility.
Okay, and as far as a approach of it, do you believe in a more abstinence approach or a more comprehensive based education approach of it?
I think that the educational point of it is very important for the fact that you need to understand all the working parts to understand how it all works. But I also think if abstinence is your method, that's fine as well. But I do think they should understand the education part of it, for sure.
Good answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you believe in sex education being taught in schools? And if so, why or why not?
So I think sex ed should be taught in schools, and I think parents should be given a choice to opt out of it. But I think it should be taught in schools because sometimes those conversations are difficult for parents to have with their kids. And then if somebody else starts the conversation, I think it should finish at home, but parents should be able to opt out of that and make their own parenting choices.
Okay. And if it's taught in schools, do you think that they should be teaching a more comprehensive base or an abstinence base?
I think it should be a more comprehensive based approach because kids are going to be kids.
Yes. Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street and I know it's my time to go. Calling you and the search is a mystery.
Now let's turn to a more recent study from Zambia. Comprehensive sexuality education linked to sexual reproductive health services reduces early and unattended pregnancies among in-school adolescent girls in Zambia. 2023 BMC Public Health. In Zambia, adolescent girls and young women face high rates of early and unattended pregnancies, limited access to youth-friendly sexual and reproductive health services, and gender inequalities restricting opportunities. This article focuses on how combining comprehensive sexuality education with real access to reproductive health services can reduce early and unattended pregnancies among school-age girls in Zambia. In this study, schools were randomly assigned different types of programs. Some only offered standard sex education curriculum, while others also connected students to youth-friendly clinics and provided support to help them actually use those services. The results were clear. Schools that paired education with accessible health services saw significantly fewer student pregnancies compared to those with regular lessons alone. The researchers emphasized that education by itself isn't always enough, and that young people need accurate information and the resources to put that knowledge into action. By giving students both, the program empowered to make them informed, healthy decisions and help lower the risk of early pregnancy.
sex education being taught in schools? If so, why or why not?
Yes, I think it's important to be taught because I think it will help reduce the curiosity surrounding sex, and I think it also teaches the consequences related to sex in general.
In school, do you think teachers should teach more comprehensive or abstinence-based?
Comprehensive, because I don't think abstinence is a successful thing to teach. I don't know if that makes sense, I guess, but I think abstinence just teaches complete restriction, and I don't think that's a reality for a lot of young people. I think you have to put abstinence behind a religion or behind a really strong belief in something and a reason to abstain from something like sex. So I think that at least if you do a full comprehensive just education, that they have a full round understanding of the situation, emotions behind sex, relationships, things like that. And I think it just gives them more exposure to the reality of life.
Makes sense. So like just making sure that they understand like consequences and like things that come out of like having sex and those long-term commitments that you've produced.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
Thank you. Do you think sex education should be taught in schools? If so, why or why not?
I think it should be because kids know what it is, but they need to understand like how to be safe from it and the things that come with it, like STIs, pregnancy, things like that. And I think that also some parents like are scared to maybe talk to their kids or don't know how to, might be uncomfortable.
Right.
Or they don't have parents to talk to them about it, or they don't have an adult that they can trust or something like that. So I think school should teach it for that reason.
Right. Okay. And do you think it should be taught more abstinence or comprehensively?
I think comprehensively, because one thing I've noticed growing up is like kids, they're gonna do things no matter what. So you might as well just teach them how to be safe about it.
Right. Just understanding like what comes along with doing what they're doing.
Exactly. Basically. So yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Yep. Of course.
Do you think sex education should be taught in schools? If so, why or why not?
Yes, I do. Not all kids have parents that will teach them, and it's a lot easier for them to stay safe and healthy if they know what's going on.
Right. And do you think it should be taught more comprehensive or abstinence-based?
Comprehensive.
Why?
Because teenagers make bad choices. They're less likely to make those bad choices if they're educated on why they shouldn't make those choices.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Did you know that over a dozen U.S. states still push abstinence-only sex ed? These states highlighted in green are those where abstinence is heavily focused on during sex ed. Abstinence-only sex ed is a form of sex education that teaches not having sex outside of marriage. It often excludes other types of sexual and reproductive health education, such as birth control and safe sex. Growing up in Utah myself, a state where sexual education is abstinence-based, I was constantly told to just not have sex. In my school, we would skip entire lessons on sex, which made it extremely hard for me to navigate my own sex life. As a teenager whose body was constantly changing and maturing, I was so curious to learn more about sex, but since it was a taboo subject, both at school and within my family, there was a lack of guidance surrounding it. I often felt ashamed for simply having questions about sex. This can have alarming negative effects on young individuals. It fails to equip young people with the knowledge and skills to make informed decisions about their sexual health, which in turn leads to increased rates of unwanted pregnancies, sexually transmitted infections, sexual violence, and stigmatization of LGBTQ+ individuals. This is why CSE is so important. But what is CSE? CSE stands for Comprehensive Sex Ed, and it provides young people with age-appropriate information about their sexual and reproductive health, relationships, and personal safety. Now I want you to ask yourself, was your sex ed actually comprehensive? If not, you deserve better. Repost this video so that more people know CSE is power, safety, and choice.
Gonna step on the gas.